Hey, what's up? It's Goldberg from the morning show with 99.9 The Point, and everybody's talking about, Smash Mouth. If you haven't heard, they're at Taste of Fort Collins, and there's a little hubbub about what happened, and it ended up on TMZ. Whoa. And since I was a guy who introduced Smash Mouth at the Taste of Fort Collins and welcomed them on stage, I figured I would throw my 2 cents in on what happened and what went down. Give you the 411. Yeah, that's information. So, here we go. First off, I just want to set it straight that the Taste of Fort Collins, the city of Fort Collins, and the security involved did a phenomenal job. They really did. First off, Taste of Fort Collins put on an amazing event, sent all kinds of records. A lot of people were very happy with what went on, and they brought a great musical lineup as well. So kudos to the Taste of Fort Collins and the city of Fort Collins for allowing such an event to happen. It's a great community in northern Colorado, and it's great to see those kind of events happen, and everybody wants them to continue to happen. Also, the security, very professional way they handled things. Even when Smash Mouth, and I'm going to get into this, was getting a little irritated about something else. They were very professional about it and addressed it and rolled with it and got things taken care of to keep the band and the audience happy. And they kept everybody safe, which is the most important thing. So kudos to security as well. All right, next, to kind of set everything up, I'm going to Tarantino it a little bit. We got to go back in time to Saturday. Saturday is whenever we had Atlas Genius on the main stage. They were amazing. They were awesome. But during the day, there's a lot of vendors there who are not only selling their food and selling their fare, but a lot of people who are giving products away. One of those products, Exhibit A, Nature's Harvest. Whole grain wheat, butter top, bread. They're giving away full loaves. This is an actual one I got that day. Full loaves of bread that they're giving away. And on Saturday night, right as the main act started going on, Atlas Genius, you started seeing some bread being flung up in the air. And a lot of people were like, what is that? That's bread. Okay. And bread started getting thrown up on stage. And Atlas Genius made comments several times how cool it was. And it's such an original thing. And they've never been a part of anything like that before. And they just rolled with it, rocked out and put an amazing show on. And they rolled with it so much that they're actually autographing people's loaves of bread. They're autographing it, and hey, it was pretty cool. Okay, so let's head to the next day. On Sunday, I rolled in and I saw the Nature's Harvest tent giving away bread again. And to be honest, I was a little surprised that they're giving away bread once again. The reason is because of what happened the night before and bread being thrown up on stage, but they're giving bread away. But what I did notice, and I made a comment to my wife about, was there was people walking out from the Nature's Harvest tent with like 5 or 6 loaves of bread. And I don't think anybody eats that much bread. So I was a little surprised, and I'm looking at, they're not using that bread to make a sandwich. They're not doing that. I know that, especially after what happened last night. So whenever we got to the main stage to introduce Smash Mouth, I made a comment to some people. I'm like, we're going to have some more bread today. And people were like, no. People, that was just a last night thing. I'm like, I don't think so. Because a lot of people that were last night are here again today. And they're loaded up. They've armed themselves with some goodness. Some nature's harvest. They've armed themselves with that. And then so as soon as Smash Mouth started going on, even before the bread started flying, I kind of had a feeling things were not going to take a turn for the best. Essentially, if you were there at the Taste of Fort Collins, you saw the setup where the main stage is up on the stone area, and then there was greenery and some stones and bricks and boulders and everything like that. And then a few feet in front of that was another fence where there was like a VIP area, and then another fence where the crowd was. So the band was really separated from the audience, and the lead singer Smash Mouth did not like that one bit. And so as soon as he got up on stage, he's like, what's up with this? Get people up here. I want people up here. Get the crowd up here. Security, get out of the way. Get them up here. And of course, security isn't going to get out of the way. They're there to protect not only the crowd, but the band. They're there for both people's safety. And he's like getting very vulgar and telling people he wants them up there. And finally, the security does subside, and they kind of start letting people in at like 20 at a time to go up there and dancing. But that doesn't stop his expletive-filled tirades of him yelling at security and wanting the crowd up there. And and it was a little it was extremely vulgar. And I had two kids. I had a 10 and a 4-year-old there, and I was a little offended. And I was like, "Whoa, wait a minute! What are you doing here? I mean, you're a band from the '90s who spent your career remaking songs from the '70s, and you're performing in 2015. You know, everybody who listened to your music in the '90s are all adults with kids. So why are you not playing and placating to the crowd and actually playing?" You know, realizing you have a lot of children, a lot of your fans from the 90s who have kids in the crowd. Besides, the most of your music recently has been on the Shrek soundtrack. So know who your audience is. I'm sorry, you're not doing skater shows anymore from the 90s. You're not on X Fest where there's half pipes rolling around. You're not doing that anymore, okay? You're doing the State Fair and Taste of Fort Collins circuit right now. Know who your audience is. Aside from that, they performed great. They're great music. They rocked out, but don't be so vulgar. You don't have to be vulgar. And I think that's what people were getting annoyed with. So the show, went on. He did his own. They went off stage and they came back on to do All Star and do their encore. But as soon as the encore started, the lead singer gets up on there and starts yelling at the crowd, daring them to throw more bread. I dare you, I will mother effing come out there and kick your butt, and starts threatening them and starts like really egging them on to throw more stuff. And by this time, I think a lot of people were irritated with his language more than anything else, and they just kind of pushed the crowd over the edge. Now, cooler heads did prevail, and the management got involved and stopped him from jumping in the crowd, and then he ended up performing All Star and everything like that. But you've seen the video on social media. You saw him swearing and jumping up on there. Now, did he have a right to do that? Absolutely. I'm sorry, but when you're on stage, you don't know what people are throwing at you. I've been on stage hundreds of times with thousands of people. And when you do that, and I'm not singing or performing, I'm just talking on the microphone, introducing a band. But if somebody throws something up there, you don't know if it's a piece of bread. You don't know if it's a bottle. You don't know if it's a rock. You don't know if it's a ninja star. You have no idea what it is. So you can't perform and talk and do what you're doing and also be aware of what's going on and being thrown at you. So was he in the right or wrong when it comes to address? He was in the complete right to actually address the crowd. How he did it, however, is where I have an issue with. He didn't have to be so vulgar. He didn't have to be so combative. He didn't have to address the crowd the way he dressed the crowd. That's where I have the biggest issue. Now, the crowd was at fault because they were throwing, and they should not have been throwing things. I don't care. Nothing gives you the right to throw something at a band. It really doesn't. They're up there to entertain you. You bought a ticket. Don't you want to see them perform and not piss them off? But he was also in the right to address the crowd and go after them, or at least tell them, don't throw your stuff. However, the way he did it is where myself, and I think a lot of other people and a lot of parents had offense with, because it was very vulgar, it was very offensive, and that's where people had the biggest issue. So that's my 2 cents. That's my statement of essentially a person who was there, who was intimately involved with the situation on the entire weekend and that night. So once again, I'm Goldberg from 99.9 The Point. Kudos to the Taste of Fort Collins and the City of Fort Collins and security. All of you guys did an amazing job keeping things calm and putting on a phenomenal event. I can't wait to be part of it next year. I mean, it was an amazing event, and I can't wait to do it again. And and hopefully we, as much as I love this brand of bread, maybe you shouldn't give away whole loaves by the dozens to people next year. Just my suggestion.